Twitter and running Instagram and running Facebook. I don't do any of the social media myself, thankfully, because I'm not good at it. But, yeah, I'd say at any given time there's at least half a dozen people. On the radio show itself, there's probably a dozen people that are contributing in different ways. We brought in a musical director. We brought in a vocal coach. So we keep trying to up our game.
So,
yeah.
Wow.
So,
and none of them are getting paid yet.
Oh, wow. Okay. Well, that's a good thing to acknowledge, though, because like we're sitting here, like our eyes just became like saucer sized as you're talking about all these people. We're like, yeah, that sounds like a list of titles the three of us probably all take at once. Like, yeah. but I mean, like, wow, yeah.
We've always had plans to like slowly train Amy's baby to just want to be an intern for the show eventually.
Oh my god, I made him a neighborhood onesie, all right? He's ready to go.
Yeah, no, honestly, it's surprising that he's not here with us right now.
Yeah, I thought he was gonna be, but then he happened to be able to go home.
He's a busy baby.
I just leave him alone by himself. Just kidding, my husband's there.
Yeah, he's real busy. He had rehearsal earlier.
Someone's got to collect the harvest. No, I don't
know. Sounds like you just have such a great team of people that are like looking to do good work for you. You mentioned the booming theater scene in Columbus. Tell us about that. What's that like?
So, I mean, I'd seen a few shows downtown, but until we got involved in MadLab, we weren't really involved in the local theater scene, just kind of backed into it as always. But in Columbus, any given weekend, you've got at least half a dozen companies running shows locally produced, not the out-of-towners coming in, although we got that too. We've got our Shakespeare in the Park. We've got all the big plays and musicals. We've got the theaters like MadLab that's all original works. So they'll do shorts festivals. They'll work with high school students. They'll do original productions that have never been performed anywhere. They'll do sketch comedy. We have like 30 improv troupes in Columbus. They just opened an improv-only theater. Some people from Second City came to town and opened it up called The Nest. So it's like, I mean, I know our city is growing like crazy, but it seems like the art scene is right at the forefront of it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Second City, huh? I gotta move, guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So, when you were coming up with the radio hour itself, you kind of started leaning toward, like, taking influence from like old serials and stuff, right?
Well, that's the format. Our material is modern.
Okay.
We didn't make it. Yeah.
Where did that decision come from? Yeah, like
that's me. You got to write what you know. I'd say the inspiration was there was a show out in LA for 10 years called Thrilling Adventure Hour.
Yeah.
And they really embraced the old timey style, and they were coming to an end right as we were getting our start. And I'm pretty sure they're the only show like that out there. So with the space opening up, I was like, we can jump in there, but I don't feel like I have enough experience with that type of material. So I had to do the stuff that I like, the stuff that I write. We got a science fiction adventure and a superhero, and we've got zombies, and we've got porn star detectives, and all kinds of zany things going on. We're going to add a couple new ones this year because we want to keep it changing and growing,
Right.
When you perform it on stage, do you perform it like with everybody standing in front of mics? Is there like a Foley table? How does that all come together?
Yeah, I got really lucky with the Foley artists. I wrote a Foley artist into the show as a character, hoping that we could get somebody to do it, and nobody auditioned. But luckily I got a reference, somebody that said, go talk to this guy. His name is Seamus Talty, and he's amazing. So he handles all the Foley stuff. He's got his table in the back. We've got a narrator, Chris Allen, who has broadcast experience and came to us just to be our announcer, and he's got his mic. And then we have like 4 mics up front that people come to and walk away from, just kind of like the old style shows.
Right, yeah.
Yeah, no, yeah, like we got one mic, and then yeah, it sits right. There's one over in the corner, I see. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And Seamus is such an excellent name for a Foley artist.
Right? He plays Chief Engineer Foley in our spaceship show.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
And so that was always the idea, was to make the Foley artist part of the show and not a separate thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always enjoyed at Universal. I think it's Universal. There's like a crazy behind the scenes, and it's just what kid wants to be a Foley artist. I found my love of Foley at that like Chevy Chase horror movie where you had to make all the noises with your mouth and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Such a great Foley in itself is such a great art.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
absolutely.
Oh man.
So fun. Man, just so you know, Patrick is my guy that does all the things that it sounds like you got about 14 guys to do. But he makes all the props and all the insane things, and he's like, oh, you need it to blow up and be safe inside a small area? No problem.
Well,
You need me to hang myself from the ceiling and convince the audience there's something wrong when really there isn't? You got it. I'm on top of that. You need me to cover everyone in confetti and then clean it totally right after the show? I got it. No problem. So I'm so impressed / jealous that you have a team of Patricks. I'm imagining Seamus and everyone just looks exactly the way Patrick does. I'll send you a photo, by the way, later. So you're like,
they're all identical. Yeah, they're all identical. I don't know what happened. I think there was a cloning accident. I don't know.
That would
I'm
explain
really into
everything.
this.
I do like the idea of delegating work, though. That sounds amazing.
I wonder how that would work. How big is Columbus?
We've got about 800,000 people right now.
How big is Austin?
Smaller than that, I think.
Is it?
Yeah, I think.
Don't Google it.
No. My phone. I don't even have my phone on.
I'm gonna say 8 people.
You're gonna say 8 people?
It's Price is right? So like,
You're bidding low.
yeah.
We're a college town, so we have
There's
like
8 people. I feel like I've seen at least 8 people since I've been here for 5 years.
I feel like there's with the 4 colleges or whatever. I feel like there's 200,000 total that are like it's probably 100,000
That are just
like
forth.
yeah, they're not
See, I
permanent
never know.
residents.
I always think it's weird when somebody asks me how many people live in my hometown. Like, it's like, what kind of population is that? It's like, what are you gonna wipe them out? What is?
Why do you need to know that?
Yeah. Like, what's the population density of your hometown in case I ever just hate you so much that I want to destroy where you came from?
When I
You
hear
guys
people,
are both very violent.
I don't understand why I need to know that statistic. Is
Which-
like,
I think it gives you a clue on who the person is.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
I mean,
okay.
I grew up in a town of 4,000 that
Same.
is only 10 minutes away from Columbus. But
Okay.
our town was kind of isolated, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
it really does feel different than those that grew up in a town of 50,000 or 100,000 or more.
yeah,
I always just expect somebody to be like, all right, it was population. It's like, I don't know, like 200,000. It's like, I bet I kick their asses. I don't know, where's it?
when I hear it asked in Texas, it's usually because they're asking about the size of their football team. They're like, are you a 2A or are you a 3A?
Okay.
Like
That makes
that's
sense.
generally where
Oh,
it's
well,
asked.
that's a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just so
But
you know, Friday Night Lights is true. That's just
Oh, I love
what,
Friday Night Lights.
what Texas is all the time. So that's just, it's pretty much a documentary.
Was that
is what
high school
is.
football?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was based on Odessa.
That's what my hometown thinks they are, even though they're only 4,000 people.
Yeah.
They're football, God and guns, and we actually had 44 consecutive winning seasons. I think we're in the Guinness Book of World Records. And my senior year was the first losing season they'd had in decades.
I don't think we've ever won in my hometown, so that's 44.
I'm from Boston originally, so we were my entire childhood was just about losing sports. It was only until after I moved away that they won the World Series and broke the curse. That was it, right? The World Series?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
so. Yeah. I'm talking
baseball?
Sox. Yeah, Red Sox.
No, yeah, it was dark,
We're all
dark
looking around the
cricket,
room
right?
like that's the right sport, right?
Oh my god. The reason why I asked the population question, even though I realized after we had that discussion that, I don't know what any of that means. I was like, okay. I was
right.
great, I'm glad that's how many people are in Columbus. In my mind, it was like, I feel like we have a lot of theater stuff going on in Austin, but it sounds so vibrant in Columbus.
Mm-hmm.
It is. Columbus is still thought of as that small cow town, and it kind of was 20 years ago. But I just keep telling people, come here. I mean, all kinds of millennials and tech people are moving here, but there's a reason. It's a really great community.
Wow, yeah, no, that's exactly what we say about Austin, I think, right?
Yeah, it sounds
Years ago, it was-
there's a lot of mirrors.
Instead
for
of
sure.
cow, it was just like, I don't know, grunge town or whatever, right? 20 years ago, it was just like everybody was hanging out and playing music and
Yeah, wait,
so glad
college
it
for
was
me? Yeah,
tiny.
that's it.
Yeah. So glad that this town was small.
So are you guys kind of the only kind of thing, kind of sort of radio show in town right now?
I think we're the only ones in the country, honestly.
Oh, all right.
Of this format.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people are starting to do scripted podcasts.
Yeah.
But I haven't heard of anybody else doing it as a live theatrical show.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I feel like the last time I heard about that was the Intergalactic Nemesis, which is a comic book that they were touring where they'd project it on the background and then people would act out the characters at microphones and there was like a Foley artist and stuff. So that's the only other thing, but that was years ago.
Well, and some of the, I mean, I know like Welcome to Night Vale sometimes tours and stuff, but that's not their main storytelling format. And some of those other groups, they have a very specific story where we're doing rotating lots of different segments, ongoing stories. So yeah, we got something that's similar to a lot of things, but I don't think anybody else is quite doing what we're doing.
Yeah. I like how the format, when you listen to it, you hear the audience because as the fellas and our audience knows, I have a love-hate relationship with the audience. So, but I realized the other day that I need to go into therapy. I need relationship therapy with me and the audience. So I'm going to work on it. But when I listened to yours, I was like, oh, it's so nice to hear the audience reaction. They exist as their own character in the world. Has there ever been a show that maybe didn't go as well? So, like, when you listen to it, either the audience is like, no, or it's just so quiet that it's like trying to work. Like, have you ever had any hard, weird, awkward stuff in the recordings?
Absolutely. I mean, when we started, people were afraid to laugh when they came to see us because they saw the microphones, they saw we were recording, they didn't want to mess with us. So we, at the beginning of every show, have to tell them, it's okay to laugh, it's okay to groan. We want that spirit. That's part of our show.
Great,
One of our early shows, I love this. We had in our superhero show, we had a villain called the Sinister Sexist. And our superhero is female, so they clashed, and the more stuff he would say about, oh, you're just a woman, you should be at home doing laundry and stuff, the audience got really, really uncomfortable. So I was sitting in the back of the room, and I just decided to start booing.
Yeah.
And once I booed, that gave the audience license to boo. And now we've used that character several times. Because it's just, that's a character you're supposed to hate. We're not saying that's a good character.
Yeah.
You're allowed to boo him.
Well, and this is more to Amy's point of the audience being lesser than us, is...
I'm working on it.
Is to say, like, if we invited you to a taping of this podcast, we didn't do it so you would quietly sit there and not... It's just like, all right, but shut up.
I think...
We do it in this theater every week, and we just... You guys fuck it up by laughing.
I was talking to somebody who enjoys wrestling and I think may do it locally.
I was just thinking the same thing.
Yeah, and they constantly talk about how they have to teach the audience how to be like a wrestling audience, because when the bad guy comes out, they want the boos, and like they will actually try to get you to boo more because that's the type of audience you need to be for this particular type of show. So
if you perform in a theater,
right.
If you perform in a theater audiences are used to being quiet. You know, so it's a matter of teaching them. I think as more shows move to these live, I mean, a lot of podcasts do live tapings these days.
Yeah.
I think people start to get it.
Yeah.
See, did you guys start out live?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. From the beginning, that was always the plan.
Okay, so yeah, I can kind of see that because it's like a lot of podcasts that do live shows sort of do that as a specialty episode or something, or like we'll go on tour for like a segment of their season, and so I could totally it's like there was no pre-established like knowledge of the material before you guys went and started doing it live, so.
No, and that's actually something we run into with special events as we go to festivals and stuff. And they are used to just having groups come in and perform and do their thing on a little stage and go away. And we're very insistent that anytime we're coming to perform, we have to record it. We want those microphones. We want that computer running. We'll bring our own equipment, but if you've got us, we get to record it.
Yeah.
I am curious, like, how not having the audience would affect the performance of the actors, too. Because, I imagine old-time radio was just some actors in a sound booth, right? And they didn't get that feedback, and you don't get that energy from the crowd. So I'm curious how that feeds in. You guys have never not done it in front of an audience that you can hear and or see
Correct.
react, right? Yeah.